In 2026, Netflix pushed a science fiction thriller with a film called The Last House. Now, the trailer and ads pushed an intriguing story. A family is mysteriously sealed inside their home, unable to escape. In there, they are forced to survive against dwindling resources and some unknown threat outside. The movie stars Greta Lee and Wagner Moura and appears to have potential for a great movie. Unfortunately, what we got was a film riddled with plot holes, dull dialogue, uneven pacing, and a pretty big snoozer. In this review, we're going to break down this film and what went so wrong. Now, to recap the story real quick, just in case you have not seen it, the movie follows Jason and Anne, a married couple in Seattle, raising two children, your stereotypical family. Now, after a rainstorm, they wake to find every door and window sealed shut in their home. Well, this could have been the start to a great sci-fi film. It really wasn't. The reaction from the family I thought was just strange. They seemed surprised, but I got the sense they were just trying to make it through the scenes in terms of the actors and actresses. They don't seem too scared or concerned with the fact that they're essentially trapped in their house. While this does change later, early on if this happened, I'd be terrified. I'd be freaking out. I'm sure most people would. I mean, let that sink in for a second. You're not able to break a glass window or even get through the drywall or get through the ceiling or anything. Now, the dad at one point tries to justify it early on by saying it's a teen prank. And, well, that'd be one hell of a prank. And how would anyone solidify glass over an entire home so quickly? Now, soon we learn it's just not their house, but across the neighborhood. The story here really, I thought, became a real snoozer, and of course it really didn't add anything showing the neighbors because they just swap a couple messages and that's all that really happens. They don't work together to find what's going on or anything like that. They could have completely done away with the neighbors and it would not have hurt the story. So the movie moves from weeks turning into months, and nothing really happens that's interesting. There's no sort of intelligent discussion about what might be happening. The girl suggests that it's probably ocean monsters, and we get a quote at the beginning of the movie, around the world being mostly ocean. Still, this makes no sense. Why are underwater creatures now deciding to lock people away and take back the planet? And how are they able to control the rain? All these things are completely unclear. Now, in addition to this, there's no collaborating with the neighbors to come up with any sort of solutions. There's no plan to do anything but just stay inside and hide when the sea beings, for lack of a better term, come by. Everyone is just stuck and we're treated to just some lame dance scenes. Now, as weeks progress and it turns into months, the family rations food, they improvise survival strategies like growing food and even hunting through their chimney. Now, speaking of this, somehow the chimney, which is on the roof of the house, they're able to send a trap through so they can catch animals. Why, though? This doesn't make any sense. Why are they able to get through this area of the home? The chimney is on the top of the house. It's going to get more rain than basically anywhere else. At least if you're going to put this plot hole in, make it at least somewhat believable. Make there be a part of the house that doesn't get hit by the rain or something. I mean, I don't know. Now, outside, there's some sort of presence, but the film, it doesn't really know how it wants to treat the aliens, or the water monsters, I should say. Apparently, they want to keep people indoors so they can take back the planet, I guess. Nothing is really clear about these beings, though. They are from Earth, so they should be biological creatures, but they seem to possess all these powers, which makes no sense. If aliens had locked them in their home, I can kind of work with that, but these octopi, or whatever they are, not so much. Now, also, these beings are remarkably comfortable being out of water. I mean, I get there are animals that can live on land and water, and maybe it's possible, but the assumption in this film is that these beings have been living exclusively in the water and have been down there all this time. Now they're able to move completely on the land with ease, no problem. They're able to fight. They know exactly how human society functions. I mean, why not, right? So the family, at this time throughout the film, they scramble to ration food, they're improvising solutions, and they try to cling to normalcy cling to normalcy. Now, critics praise these earlier sequences, some reviews I was reading, because they felt authentic, watching the parents argue, the children struggle with boredom, but I did not see this at all. I disagree with these reactions. I don't think that this is how people would truly react. I do like how they were able to grow food, but again, the traps out of the chimney was just too much for me. A better option, I think, would have had to been, maybe they have some fish in their house. They love fish, the daughter, and then maybe they just have a pond. They make a pond and throw the fish in. It's more believable than hunting out of the chimney. Now, Greta Lee and Wagner Moura are fine actors and actresses, but they seem miscast in these roles. They weren't terrible, but definitely didn't feel like a standout performance. Unfortunately, to the script, it doesn't give them enough depth. Their character arcs, they definitely feel rushed, and supporting characters like neighbors as well, they're underdeveloped. I'm not even sure why they're in the film. So the last house, it's really trying to be the next Bird Box, or, looking back even more, maybe even like Signs, but it ends up feeling closer to a terrible film like The Happening that just completely dropped the ball. Now, where Bird Box committed really, and it stuck with that vision, that apocalyptic vision, and really introduced some interesting challenges. The Last House stumbles. Its creature reveal is terrible and certainly not memorable. Now, as mentioned, the film is full of logical gaps. How does the family survive for years without any medicine? What about sanitation? Why do supplies last so long when rationing is barely shown? And why do they have electricity? Do the beings want them to just die slowly? Are they just wanting to torture them? The script glosses over these realities like these and other things too, like water filtration and even waste disposal. Now, the supernatural ceiling of the house is very inconsistent and probably the biggest flaw in this film, in my opinion. Now, the villain, or the monster, that was just bad too. It just looks atrocious. I watch a lot of creature features. I love these movies, even the bad ones. The tentacled entities, they're very poorly designed, borrowing from other films or stealing from other films with no originality. As mentioned, the backstory behind them is vague, never explained, and ultimately very unsatisfying. The finality feels hokey too. The family ends up befriending the creature, and the creature lets them out. So instead of outsmarting the villain, the movie chose to have the family befriend one. This was supposed to be some feel-good moment, but in a film full of so many illogical things, this was just another. Why was this being who has been part of a mass slaughtering of millions or billions now ready to be empathetic? It's just really not clear. In the end, The Last House, it's a film that worked on paper and probably sounded good in a pitch meeting, but it failed to do much. The performances were okay, but the film just doesn't make much sense, and it's ultimately pretty forgettable. In sum, it's another Netflix thriller that will trend for a week and be in the top 10, and then it'll vanish, with very few, including myself, ever rewatching it. And I know I won't be rewatching this one. And I do rewatch a lot of films after 7, 8, 10 years, because I will forget a lot of stuff. I'll remember certain things about the film, but I will rewatch stuff. And this is definitely one movie that I will not be rewatching. Let me know any comments, thoughts on this film. Did you actually enjoy this, or did you hate it like I did?